Guys, how we doing? Yeah. Well, it's interesting. It's interesting to say how you doing. Everyone goes, woo! Instead of saying, I'm fine. My name's Steve Beckles, Ebusua. Today, guys, what I'm going to do this evening, I'm going to share 4 steps to making a change. Conquering fears that you might have. These 4 steps I'm going to go through with you. And if anyone has pens, by all means, make notes. Because these are steps that I took. Because the reason I took these steps, I was in a job that A, I wasn't good at, and B, no one liked me in that job. Everyone say, ah. Okay, you didn't actually mean that. It's only because I told you to do that, yeah? But in all seriousness, I didn't enjoy the job. And it's a true story, because what actually happened on a Saturday afternoon, I'll be thinking about going to work on a Monday morning. I was part of the 78% of people that dislike the jobs they're in. It had me realising I needed to take some steps. And the reason I'm telling you is that hopefully you can maybe take these steps along with me. Guys, are we ready for these steps? Yes! No, that's not good enough. Are we ready for these steps? Yes! Okay, but I'm not going to tell you yet. What I'd like you to do is just raise your hands, please. It's not a religious thing, don't worry. Okay. What I'd like you to do is just clasp your hands like this. So make sure your right thumb is at the base, okay? Right thumb at the base, okay? You okay there? Yeah, got it. Right. Now what I want you to do is clench really tight. Now what I want you to do is just move 2 forward. 1, 2, okay? Now in this stance, I want you to clench as tight as possible. How does that feel at the moment, please? Uncomfortable. I love that word. Uncomfortable. There's a man in tears down there. Don't worry, I'll let go of it, yeah? What I want you now to do, this is really important, I want you to return your hands where they were. I think I heard someone over there go, ah. Yeah? So you're back where you are. Put your hands down, please, guys. That's what this is about, and that's what my talk's all about. It's about feeling comfortable about being uncomfortable. Let's go through the steps very quickly. Belief is the first step. That's the first thing I'm going to talk about. Belief is everything, isn't it? Belief is who you are, is what you're doing. Your belief determines your attitude. Your attitude determines the way you feel. The way you feel determines the way you act. So it all starts with belief. That's the first step we're going to be covering. The second step is going to be habits. We all have habits, don't we? Yeah? Good and bad. And I read somewhere that habits rule the unreflected herd. Wordsworth once said that. Isn't it true, isn't it? You do things habitually you don't even think about. That's the second step. The third step is awareness. This is massive. Are you aware of what's going on around you? This is a great awareness for me, being at the YESx group. There are some people at the moment watching Coronation Street. Nothing against Coronation Street. But do you understand what I'm saying? Awareness of what's going on. And the final step is going to be action. And that's where I'm going to be giving you tips, some practical tips on how you can apply these. So guys, are you ready to go? Yeah. That's pathetic. Are you ready to go? Yeah. Okay, let's go, guys. First story. Here we go. Belief, and these are true stories. I was an agfa engineer. I used to repair photocopy machines. That was my job. And what would often happen, I'd ring up just to tell the customer I was on my way. And the customer would say, Steve, don't worry, the machine seems to be working okay now. Now that was good for me, because I thought, this is good. All these machines being repaired and me not actually having to be there. I remember one incident, I was in the car park of a company where I said I couldn't, well, he said to me they didn't actually need me anymore. As I went into the reception, I saw the photocopier of a sign, machine not working, engineer soon to come. And you know when that penny drops on you, the fact was that they didn't want me there because I wasn't good at what I did. I had a lack of belief. I remember that same day I went home, it was really funny, I was sitting down, and it was one of those hot summers, and there was a fly buzzing around in the front room, and I'm not one that kills creatures, so I got up and I opened the window for the fly to get out. The crazy thing is the fly still buzzing on the window, which wasn't open. And it was like I could hear the fly saying, no, I'm not going to take the risk, I'm staying here against the window, and yet the window was wide open. It was like the fly had a belief, I'm staying here, and I'm not moving. That was me. I didn't want to move. There was opportunity, just like that window for the fire, but wouldn't take the opportunity. So my first step in belief was realizing Don't believe everything you think. Wayne Dyer once said that. Don't believe everything you think. I think we've heard about the Roger Bannister story, haven't we? And just for those who haven't. It was believed that no one could ever run a mile in under 4 minutes. Couldn't be done. Can't do it. Roger Bannister decided to do it. Now the experts said it cannot be done. Roger Bannister attempted it and did it. 1954 it was, in May the 22nd. He accomplished it, but it wasn't that instant that was amazing. 6 months afterwards, 200 people was able to run the mile in under 4 minutes. Guys, the reality is that it's about belief. That was my first step. I realised I had to say to myself, what do I believe? My second step was habits. We've all got habits, haven't we? We all kind of do things habitually. And I remember when I told my friend about the story about the fly, he asked me this question, and I'm going to pose it to you. When was the last time you did something for the very first time? I want you to pause on that question. When was the last time you did something for the first time? My friend said to me that Albert Einstein said you should be doing 2 new things every week. That's crazy, I can't do that. But when I thought about it, where would you be if you could do 2 new things every week? Just think about that. So that was my challenge with habits. When was the last time I did something for the first time? So already I had beliefs. Is it true? Could I actually do it myself? Is everything I'm thinking true? The second point was thinking very carefully about it. When was the last time I did? Was I breaking my habits? The third point was awareness. Now this is a massive thing for me. I contacted a friend, and on the back of when was the last time I've done something for the first time, I contacted a friend that lived in Dover, and he said to me, Steve, you've not contacted me for ages, and now you've rung me up to say you want to come and visit me. And I said, look, it's off the back of having a conversation about doing something for the first time. I drove down to Dover, it was great. And my friend, he has a beach, and he does a lot of crab collecting. So I went along, and he said, Steve, could you help me? I said, look, no problem at all. So what we did, we collected the crabs and put them into the bucket. And as I put the crabs into the bucket, subconsciously I was thinking, there's no lids for these buckets. What's going on here? Anyway, we finished, it took about an hour. And I said to him, where's the lids for the buckets? He said to me, Steve, don't worry about that. Anyway, we went for a drink, and we got something to eat. It wasn't crabs, by the way. Eaten away, and in the back of my mind, I'm just thinking about all of these crabs that are now going to be climbed out all over the beach. We went back 2 hours later. There were no crabs. I thought, see, look, they've all climbed out. But the reality is, I looked into the buckets and the crabs were still there. And he explained to me that when one crab climbs out, the rest pull him back down. Wow. On the way back to London, I started thinking about some of the friends that I've got that are just so negative. I'm sure you know some of those people. All they ever do is bring up negative information. I've got a good friend of mine. Well, not so much a good friend, I don't speak to him so much. But he'll ring me up to tell me that someone's died. He'll ring me up to say, Steve, do you see how much redundancies are going on? Now that's when I had a situation, not enjoying my job, but that feeling of redundancies made me stay in a job that I didn't want to be in because of the people I was in. So guys, what I want you to do is think very carefully about the circles you keep. So look at the first one, beliefs. Is what you believe true? Remember the Roger Bannister story? Number 2, the habits. What habits have you got? What could you do now, slightly differently, that will cause a different result? And it could be crazy. You could maybe sleep on the other side of the bed. Obviously tell your partner first. But do you know what I mean? Do something different, because you'll get a different response. And then awareness. What are you reading? I love this survey. The NBC had 100 nights of news. And what they did, they separated the positive news from the negative news. Negative items, they found, were 322. Positive items, 322 positive items. Negative items, 5,222 items. Negative. Not a surprise. How many times have you read those free newspapers on the train? Yeah? All you need to do is look on the front page. Someone's died. Yeah? Someone's breasts. Yeah? Someone's three in the bed. Someone's drugs. Someone crime. Someone racism. There's never anything that will make you think, you know what? I'm going to change my life. It's like, you know what? I'm going to jump underneath this train. There's never anything positive. We laugh, but it's true. Awareness, guys. What's around you? So just look at it, guys. Beliefs. What do you believe? Is it true? Remember the Roger Bannister story. Habits. What habits you forgot? What do you need to break up? Do something different. Do you remember? When was the last time? Yeah? Awareness. How aware are people around you? This group is a great example of awareness. Because, as was said earlier, we're all positive people, all trying to do positive things. The last point is action. Just a massive one, isn't it? It was really funny because on the way back to London, I stopped into Tesco's. And as I pulled into Tesco's, I got out of my car, and I heard this altercation between a 3-year-old and a mother. We've seen them before, haven't we? I'm not giving you that chocolate. You can forget it. You're not getting it. You're not going to get it. You can forget. I'm not getting it. All of a sudden, the child sat on the floor. Well, you can sit there because I'm off. And she walked out. And obviously, I'm standing there thinking, oh my God, child issues, child care issues here. The security guard, the other guy that stands at that desk thing, he looked at me and I said, oh, I don't know. And then all of a sudden, she came back in, right, picked him up. I'm going to give you 1 bar of chocolate and no more. And put him over her shoulder. As he did so, he looked at me and he smiled. The lesson I learned from that was action. He said, I've had enough. He sat down, that's it, I've had enough. I'm not doing this anymore. Now, 78% of people in jobs they don't like, I can probably guess there are some people here of that 78%. What action are you prepared to take? Are you prepared to say, you know what, that's it, I've had enough? I'm not saying recklessly saying, take a partner, I've given my job, yeah, I know I'm not going to pay the mortgage, but I had to do it because Steve said so. Don't do that. Don't do it. But what I do recommend you to do is ask yourself a question. What action do you need to take? So guys, let me just summarise on those 5 points, the 4 points, which is so important. What do you believe? Remember that Roger Bannister story? Remember, it's a true story. Please Google this afterwards. Think about it. Is it true what you're thinking about yourself? You can't do this, you can't achieve, you can't do it. Is it true? I bet you it's not. The second thing, the habits. What are you now going to do slightly differently? Even when you leave here, what are you going to do? Even in the morning when you get up to go to work, go to another route. Drive, maybe. You normally walk. Maybe the other way around. What I'm saying is that if you change something, I think Wayne Dye said this, when you change the way you look at something, the thing you look at then changes. Yeah? The third thing, awareness. Leave those magazines, don't pick up the Metro. It's dangerous, yeah? Look at what you're reading, especially in the morning and in the evening. Because your mind is working overnight, yeah, overtime, yeah? You're reading negative issues, the 10 o'clock news. Keep away from it like a plague. That's only my opinion. Yeah? So think very carefully. Then finally, action. Guys, what action are you going to take? Because if you don't take any action, this conversation with you is a waste of time. Think about what you're now going to do. What action can you now do in connection with where you are in your life? Now, I did that. Stepped out of where I was, and I've entered into speaking. I enjoy speaking. I love motivating, coaching as well. It's all great fun. But I had to use those 4 steps, which worked for me. Some of them might not work for you, but I believe they will get you thinking about where you are. And I just want to finish with something that Nido Cobain once said. It's change normally occurs when the pain of remaining the same becomes greater than the pain of change. How many people do you know that are made redundant and then they come and ring you maybe a couple of days later saying, do you know what, Steve, the best thing's happened to my life, but they had to be pushed. I would change that statement and just say, why wait for that? Make the step now. Guys, thank you very much, Steve, for listening to me.